Hello garden friends, welcome to the New Sages Garden channel. I'm Sarah, Jim's operating the camera, and today we're going to do a garden tour. So here we are at the height of the growing season. This is mid-July, we're in California, zone 9B. It's hot and the produce is producing. So we had a reason to get out of town for a couple of days, but that can be a little panic-inducing when you've put as much labor and effort into your garden. So we want to tour you around and show you what things look like after being unattended for 1 week. So Jim set up drippers and everything was on irrigation, a little spray here. We just kind of moved the decorative pots that were scattered around the patio into one location so things could get watered. Oh, Jim, look, the Oyo here in the majorum is actually pretty full. Yeah. So this is majorum, and we have a little Oyo in here, and it was filled up clearly by the sprayer. You might see that some things maybe weren't doing so good. Actually, this is this wasn't looking great anyways, the zinnia. I think it's a little too hot for a pot of that particular size. But all in all, things look great over here for just being sprayed. So we also have some tomato cherry varieties that are here in large terracotta pots on the patio. Jim ran drippers to these, and we've co-planted with some herbs. These are doing fantastic.
How high can you reach there? Not all the way.
Not all the way. So, some basil. This is papalo. This is a lovely cilantro-like herb. This is a pink bumblebee tomato. Very colorful and delicious. Little bonsais that are... So this is the pepper and tomato bed, and I swear this grew about 8 inches while we were gone. It's really filled in nicely here. We have a number of the Big Jim peppers here. I have a cherry Chadwick tomato planted here. Again, you can kind of see how crazy tall this particular plant is, and how big and beautiful these Big Jim peppers are. These have really been producing pretty prolifically. This is a really good plant to shoot here. A number of large pod fruits on these.
Look at that bundle.
The peppers are pretty thin-walled, similar to in flavor a bell pepper, but thin-walled and not as meaty. We're finding that they're delicious in eggs, salsas, scrambles, really anything. Here we have tomatoes. I planted, this is a white tomasol, and then I have 3 terracottas and a bodacious. This was heavily picked 1 week ago, and you can see that over the course of 1 week we have a lot of tomatoes that are actually ready. These are Thorburns terracotta, and this is a ripe tomato right now. I'm going to show the people this fun plant. This is a Pippins gold pepper, and this was an experiment for our garden. I actually didn't have a whole lot of germination on this particular plant, but I'll tell you this one plant is being very prolific, so I'll make sure that I save the seeds this year. So Pippins gold, I mean, the fruit actually comes on this beautiful dark purple color, and they transition to a more gold color. I thought I saw one that was...
This one over here is pretty... It's kind of more squat.
Oh yeah. So this is just starting to turn. So it'll take on a gold hue. Small peppers, not very spicy, but they have a nice flavor to them. From the tomato jungle. So after 1 week of not being home and kind of leaving the garden to do its a thing naturally, supported by drip irrigation, and that's running every day, this is what we have. It looks like a couple of things maybe got a little out of control. Looks like maybe a tomato was not tied up particularly well, and it was overtaken by a tomatillo. Yeah. But by and large, things look pretty good. I gotta show you this, however. Not so great. This is a Berkeley tie-dye tomato, and it looks like we were just a little late. This one probably could have been picked right before we left. So if you recall, this is the bed where we previously had the carrots, and we decided to plant some peppers and some tomatoes together. And I have to say, this has worked out very well. I have 3, they're called Colgosteria Peppers. These are a Hungarian variety, kind of sweet. They have just beautiful color to them. They look like they might be fiery, but they're not.
You can see here we have some critters snacking on some of these larger beefsteak tomatoes. It seems like they are particularly vulnerable when they get really ripe to be getting chomped on.
Yeah, in this particular variety, Jim, these 3 here, these are the Abe Lincoln variety of tomato. Behind that we have Mortgage Lifter, which is also a very large beefsteak type tomato. Both of these are recommended by the master gardeners of California to do well in the Sacramento region. Based on our personal experience this year with these 2 varieties, I don't think that I'll be planting either Mortgage Lifters or Abe Lincolns again. I want to show you this, however. These fruit here are, this is a Paul Robeson, which actually looks fairly similar to the Thorburns terracotta. I planted sunflowers here in this big roundy bed, and I thought I would co-plant some pole beans. So the pole beans have been winding their way up the sunflower stalks, and this is just a fun way to encourage pollinators and get some vertical eccentricity in your garden. Just wanted to share 2 other tomato varieties with you as well. This is Anise Noir, or known as a black pineapple, and this is a white tomasil. White tomasil is basically, it has white flesh, white to greenish flesh when it's ripe. This is a very sweet tomato. It's kind of like candy. Anise Noir, personally, I think I'm coming to find out that this is not my favorite tomato. It's prone to a lot of undulations and cracking in the bottom, even though the soil was certainly well amended with lots of calcium, potassium, banana peels, lots of organic matter in advance of planting. Jim, since it's been so hot, I just want to point out that some of these tomatoes are certainly more prone to sunburning than other tomatoes. This particular variety is the Anise Noir, or the black pineapple, and you can see that we get a lot of strong afternoon sun from this particular direction, and we have a number of the fruit that are sunburned. So when we were having our fruit first come on, we had a couple of very hot days and had picked probably about 10 to 15 pounds of fruit that looked like this. Now our tomatoes were starting to ripen on the other side, but they had been blemished by the sun and had been sunburnt. So what we did was we picked these fruit, cut out the sunburned spots, and made salsa. And it was fantastic. So it was a way to salvage our harvest. This is a pink bumblebee, and I just find the fruit to be just so beautiful. I'm just going to pick that, and we'll see how it tastes. So delicious. Here we have our cucumber bed. And our cucumber bed, Jim has a spray bubbler dripper in here right now, so this all gets a little bit of moisture, and this has the opportunity to fill up these Oyos. Cucumbers really like their roots to be warm, but their leaves can be kind of susceptible to sunburn as well. This is certainly a crop that requires a lot of feeding throughout the season in order to continue to produce. I may have overplanted this bed a little bit. I did snack some cucumbers yesterday out of here, but we have a couple more coming on. So we've been actually keeping a shade cloth over these to protect them during the hottest part of the day. These tomatoes here, these are called Rutgers tomatoes. These have been producing pretty well. This is kind of your classic red tomato. This has been good in sandwiches, salads, soups, you name it. I've been really enjoying this tomato. It's got a lot of flavor to it. I planted a lot of hot peppers this year. This is Craig's Grande Jalapeno. I really only got one of these to sustain in the garden. I'm pretty excited about this though. These little buds that we have coming on here, this is the Jalapeno wild pepper. So it looks like this is actually going to do something. We only have one of these little gems in the garden here. It appears that the Rosita eggplants are being overtaken a tiny bit by the pole beans. I suppose that's always a danger of co-planting, and but you can see there she is, and you have to be really careful when you're messing around with this particular variety of eggplant. I don't know if you can see this, but this is sharp. When I first went to harvest our first eggplant about a week ago, I got a nasty surprise by grabbing this. So handle Rosita with care. Welcome to Tomatilloville. So the tomatillos are just doing fantastic. There's a number of these that are certainly ripe, ready, and just saying, put me in an omelet. So that's what we'll do.
Oh wow.
These are Thai hot peppers. The beautiful thing about gardening is it actually doesn't have to cost you a single thing. These are seeds that actually came from my Uncle Tom in Michigan. He's a hot pepper aficionado. He shared some seeds with me, actually peppers, and I saved some of the peppers and planted some of the seeds the following year. And so we've been cultivating this beauty the last 2 years with, I would say pretty wild success. I mean, these are very dense heads. I've got three of these plants, and I think we'll get a number of hot peppers off of these, and these are spicy hot. Spicy hot peppers usually tend to grow pointed up, so that'll give you a sense when you're looking through your seed catalogs. If your peppers are pointed up, whoo, bring the heat.
Got some our Thompson seedless grapes might be on. They look like they might be sweet enough.
It's got good sugar content.
Oh. A little tart. You could actually try one of those ruby reds right there.
So I want to share one more pepper with you. This is the black Hungarian. I really thought, given the shape of this fruit, that it would be a little more jalapeno-like. Just not so. These are a little on the, I would say, mild to sweet side. Just beautiful little purple flowers that are produced, and the fruit is also just this beautiful dark purple color. And this has been a pretty good producer. I actually have 2 plants in here right now and a number of fruit on this particular plant. So we really appreciate you going on the 1-week neglected garden tour with us, and we wanted to share what we've done here in terms of setting things up on drippers and give you peace of mind that you actually can step away for a couple of days. We certainly did a big harvest before going away, and we're about to do a massive pick now. I'm sure we can insert some stills on how much fruit we've harvested at the end of this video. But it is possible if you set yourself up with the ability to self-water. You can leave your garden and come home to an abundant harvest. So thank you for joining the New Sages, and we'll see you next time. Get growing.